last one
Genome.
was too crude. His last one was too crude to put on stream, but this one's
That's
perfect.
this one is quite good. This one is quite good. Oh man.
So we see the middle of a game between No Nonsense and Genome. The board state is Stormcloud Buccaneer, Biddy Bolt, and Cerulean Mirror Knight, which looks like it was on the board prior to the other troops, versus Mentalist Dreamer and Excavation Bot. I have to imagine that Excavation Bot got there off of a Reese, but I can't be sure. Um, Genome with a ton of charges, No Nonsense with a few, and No Nonsense running Tetsit, but not the same cards that certain Jadim Jedi would have.
Yep, he's got a different take on it here, which is pretty cool.
Most people enjoying the card blocker.
That is quite the card blocker. That really was. But we had to choose this one. I mean, just amazing card blocker. Anyway. Genome playing an Eldritch Dreamer here. Does look like No Nonsense has missed a few shard drops.
Yeah. Interesting. Somebody mentions it could be a Gorfy style deck, which is absolutely correct. We see Elder Streamer swinging in. Of course, nothing can block the Elder Streamer, and it has the ability to draw not only draw a card, but it looks like it's been inspired by the Mentalist, so it'll draw two cards for No Nonsense, who now is at 5 resources and has double Ruby Threshold, which is important for several reasons here. We will see what Genome is able to do on his turn. Still 5 resources open though. No Nonsense could play something here. Could see a Falconer, could see another Dreamer, could see a Mastery of Time. Um, if it was Gorfeast, we would, and Mastery was in board. If it was kind of like a weird deck that involved all of those things, you would certainly see Mastery into Gorfeast there. Oh, and we see a Reese's surfacing, which we didn't know about because the card blocker was too efficient at its job there for a second. But we see the counter magic onto the Reese, which then gets verdicted. Are we going to see a verdict for the verdict? We do. We see a verdict on the counter magic on the Reese, and then we see the peak. Are we going to see another? Oh no, no! If he had then peaked for a verdict,
It's another verdict.
that'd have been too good. So we see what he pulls into hand. He's obviously got a card blocker, so we won't talk too much about that. But most of the resources for this turn by both players already spent. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, if you're No Nonsense, I mean, it makes sense. Discarding the card last turn just to hold up the double counter. Reese is so important in a lot of these matchups that being able to win that war really is just that important.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly not the only threat, and we can tell that right off the bat. We also see Genome still has 6 resources, 4 cards in hand. Well, you can't see what those cards are because of the card blocker. He's actually up to 5 cards in hand now. You can see his hand size over there on the left hand side. I keep
Card
tilting my
blocker
head to
or
meet
cat
the,
blocker?
the cat blocker.
Cat blocker, yeah.
Mhm.
That is so great. I hope we highlight this later, Tech.
I wanted to randomly paw at the cards, kind of jump on the table and ruin everything.
like like just see random twitching from the Eldritch Dreamer.
So we see a couple of interesting things. First of all, we see Tetsits used. Second of all, we see the full swing here. Third of all, we see that Genome doesn't rifle through the cards revealed by Tetsit just to get a bit. Like, obviously, this is probably game 2 or 3, and things are getting deep anyway. But, like, you still want to know what cards your opponent could have.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely one of the downsides of playing Tetsup is you reveal a little bit of what you're playing there. Interesting. I was not the line I thought that Genome was going to take there. I thought he was going to go for the damage to finish off the the Mentalist.
Ooh, and we see a mastery here. We did see that there were some masteries when that Tetsit revealed cards. This means two more cards, probably six more damage getting through. Possibly eight damage, actually.
Yeah, it seems pretty likely to full swing here.
Yeah, I mean, he's either trying to draw for another mastery or he has it. And Genome being on zero resources just kind of has to take this to the face and see what happens. The Biddy Bolt is not strong enough to deal with. We can't kill any of those troops. We see another resource. What does No Nonsense play here? Is it another mastery to seal out the game? Well, it doesn't quite seal out the game. It's a Buccaneer. That will send probably the Dreamer back to hand, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it seems pretty likely Dreamer's going back here.
Genome caught it in the glitch.
That dang cat getting in the way, throwing my cards around the board. What are you doing?
So 9 cards in hand for Genome here? Yeah.
Yeah, 9 cards, but 6 resources. Let's see, what would be his best out here? I guess if he had like Cloud into Shard into Mastery.
It would be strong. Like if he has masteries and he doesn't have the win on board here, he almost certainly plays them. Well, Grolk is strong. It will nullify No Nonsense's board for a bit. We see the Azurfate Sorceress with Quick come onto the board, and that will deal its 2 damage. It'll get in there with no resources open, and almost certainly a troop in hand with 7 cards. That's probably game all on its own. That Quick gem is so strong in the Azurfate, being able to be used like this in end phases.
And especially because he has Mentalist in play, that direct damage also drawing another card, likely getting another troop, if you didn't already have him already, which you probably did.
Yeah. Your version of the Tetsit deck, quite a bit different. No Mentalists, using speed in the Azurfate instead of quick.
Right.
Yeah, there are a lot of variations. It's a very versatile deck. Yeah, and we see the Reese that appears to have been bounced. So Genome knew it was in hand here. That will deal damage, and I have to imagine, I'm going to check the standings. That apparently that wasn't the final game between these players, or they have not entered their results yet.
Either way, it's a lot of fun to see the Azurfate doing some work there. Certainly a more controlling version of the deck here, which I am a fan of. Could it be that Tetsot will make a top 8 appearance today?
No, certainly not. Certainly not.
Certainly not. Okay.
I will be right back. While we wait. It doesn't look like they've gone to reserves, so maybe that was the end of that match. I'll still be right back.
Okay, no problem. Seems like a lot of the viewers here also really enjoying that card blocker. It really was pretty sweet. Yeah, I'm sure you chose Cat Blocker because it blocks the underground creatures. Definitely a big part of it. How's Azurfate socketed? It was quick and direct damage, for anybody who was still asking about that. Scythe Like 92, yes. So all of us that are playing today obviously love Hex, or we wouldn't be playing in this tournament. What we have going on today is a community-run tournament. It is free to enter, and everybody who wants to play Constructed in our tournament is welcome to do it. It's sponsored by one of the community members, Technophy, who's actually on the Shoutcasting team with us, or at least on the streaming team with us. And this tournament is, again, free for anyone to join, and we give out prizes to the top 32 players. And you can get packs from the new set, even though we're playing with the latest set, the previous two sets that are in constructed right now. So awesome way to get into it. Obviously, you're too late to participate in this particular one, but we have this tournament series every month. Most of our tournaments are on the second weekend of the month. So if you are interested in joining us, you've got about a month or so to check it out. I would say, as far as compared to Hearthstone, the big difference is that our resource system is very different. We don't have, we have a shard system, which you have to play the shards and then get the thresholds for the cards that you want to play. It's not like it's a class system where you can only play, class and neutral cards like Hearthstone, and you don't guarantee that you're going to get the resource every turn. So in this game, playing an 8-drop is considerably harder than playing an 8-drop over in Hearthstone, for example. So some of the big differences, just to give you an idea of it. But obviously, all of us who are playing it here enjoy playing Hex quite a bit. And yeah, that should give you a pretty good idea of it. If you have any other specific questions, though, feel free to ask about it. We do see Genome confirming that No Nonsense won it. So I think we're probably not going to show any more matches for this round here.
There is only how much time left in the round, Technofee? 13 minutes and 50 seconds. That's not true. It's probably more like 13 minutes and 20 seconds. Thank you for that up-to-date report, Technofee. No problem. I'm sick.
Is that Hanky Fee?
No, that was just Technofee. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no need to make fun of him. We already called him a girl today. Yeah, guys, calm down.
I'm not trying to make fun. It just sounds like Mr. Hanky's voice there.
Well, actually, I guess Jakasha would really, really like it if we would watch them. So for the end of the round, we can load up Jakasha's tournament. They have been trying to get our attention pretty much all day. There's 10 minutes left, so I guess, or 13 minutes left.
Okay. Jakasha? How do you say that? Okay. Yeah.
I'll link you up.
Okay, cool.
Looks like they are in Game 3. Jakasha with the Blood Diamond here. In other news, we have about 0.2% of the viewership of League of Legends. I mean, that's good. That's solid. So Soul Marble already at 3 counters from what we're seeing. Royal Falcon on the other side of the table is doing something weird with their thresholds. I don't know if I understand, really. There are 4 different types of thresholds there.
Penta?
I know.
Penta.
And they're specifically running Rutherford Banks here, so we could see... I mean, this might be a good time to tell you about a website that you guys might have heard of called FiveShards.com. No particular reason.
Are we watching FiveShards.deck, possibly?
Yeah. For a little while, my team was testing around with certain deck types, and the 5-shard deck was called a Prism deck, just as a quick thing. I kind of like the term. Although I kind of like calling dual threshold cards prismatic as well. They're all kind of neat here. We see Jakasha, according to their correction in chat, selecting resources here. Blood Diamond. Zared is not going to be super good here if we run into a Soul Cavalry. Chooses not to swing with the Punisher. And actually, I'm a complete herp-diddy-derp. I didn't see that there's a Soul Marble on both sides of the table. So that's actually really scary for both players, because double soul armaments will turn this into an arms race.
I see what you did there.
I wasn't intentional, but it was really good now that I think about it. You said that you saw what I did there, and I was like, what did I? Huh?
It's an arms race with soul armaments. Yeah, to the people asking in chat, we'll give deck lists later, but we don't give that out during the tournament.
Not during the Swiss portion.
Right, right. So we see Royal Falcon just playing a shard and passing it back again.
I guess that Darkspire Punisher didn't swing in to keep it safe from repel. Also, Killblade of the Milky Eye as a troop in Constructed. I mean, lethal is a super strong keyword.
Yeah, lethal is a good keyword. The only downside that I personally have had with Killblade is that as an attacker, he's very small, so he doesn't really do much to pressure the opponent. So he's kind of just like a removal spell.
Just like a super good worker bot.
Super good worker bot. There you go.
Except he can't build plans. I guess that's. There's other things you could probably do with it if I think about it. There's probably a more place for for Killblade than I've ever really given it credit for. It certainly stops that Soul Marble from turning into a Soul Cavalry. We see Nature Reigns here, hitting that.
No.
Oh no!
Oh.
Oh, we see a fairly large miss. Okay, so this isn't. This is just for anyone that doesn't know what could have happened here. Had Jakasha put another counter onto the Soul Marble, it would have resolved and allowed him to choose to turn it into the Soul Cavalry there.
Right.
And Soul Cavalry is a troop and not a constant or an artifact.
Right.
So it either would have forced a second card out of Royal Falcon's hand, either another Nature Reigns, or it would have survived the Nature Reigns trigger. So just by using another resource, things could have been better. We do see all three of those resources being used to play another Darkspire Punisher here. But on Royal Falcon's side of the board, he is going to be one counter away next turn from finishing his own Soul Marble.
Yeah, I mean, it does let him play the Punisher, but I think being able to just have the Soul Cavalry
Soul Cavalry on board would have been if I had to imagine, it's just the not knowing that was an interaction.
Probably.
So we see the Royal Herald come down, and this is going to find that Ruby completing the prism. All of the thresholds of Entrath have been met here, as well as the shard stylings of DJ Hex Comet.
I was just thinking, wouldn't it be perfect to see Comet Strike now?
Comet Strike would be crazy. So, and despite everything that's happened, still a strong board state for Jack here. Could swing in against. Well, I mean, the Soul Armaments would make that Royal Herald a 4/3. Now, interestingly enough, okay, well, not that it matters because of the verdict. So we've seen Verdict, Soul Marble, Nature Reigns, just a whole plethora of different options coming out of Royal Falcon. But even if the Soul Marble had resolved, not Soul Marble, if the Solitary Exile had resolved, the Soul Marble didn't have the same option of protecting itself there because it would have been targeted no matter what.
Well, the Cavalry needs a spell shield, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. The Soul Cavalry would have been fine as well. So it did have the same option.
We do see going to armaments here from the Falcon, the Royal Falcon.
Which will find another Darkspire troop out of the deck here instead of discarding a card. Probably the correct choice, all in all. He's only got the one in the grave, but he's got another one on board. Darkspire is actually in an okay position here until Royal Falcon gets a flight troop on board, right?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, that's the great thing about playing with the Darkspire chains. You can just keep throwing troops out there, and even if there is an extinction, you don't really care, which I'm sure both of these guys are, well, maybe not Royal Falcon's playing, but both of them could be playing. Yeah, until there's a flight troop out there, Jakisha's probably pretty happy about this. See that Royal Herald getting in the 4 damage because it has the steadfast. Might as well go ahead and get the damage.
Yeah, absolutely no reason not to swing there. See another adaptable infusion device. So this is kind of a semi drawback to running such a heavy thresholded deck is that you would then need to have some of the extra fixers like the adaptable infusion devices. But nothing feels bad when you then put a Darkspire Punisher on the board. Darkspire Punisher, sorry, a Midnight Shepherd. Now, Midnight Shepherd, fantastic in this matchup because even if Jack manages to play a Tyrant onto the board, he doesn't have any Darkspire in his grave if they keep getting resurrected on Royal Falcon's side of the board.
That's right. You can take from any grave with that. Man, that is a lot of fun with that Midnight Shepherd.
Midnight Shepherd's an incredibly strong card and has a lot of potential to be better in set 3, but even now it's incredibly strong once it resolves on the board. That it's either a do or die situation.
Right, and the Soul Armament's looking even better when you have that guy out there. He's small and fragile, but man, is he good when he sits around. We do see the trade because the Killblade has lethal. You see Jakisha putting a couple Darkspires in play here. Oh, he's doing some math. Yep, he's going to play the Darkspire Tyrant now.
Yeah. Tyrant still has some potential of getting things through here.
Now, conversely, the good thing about Darkspires is that it's great about clogging the ground and stopping the opponent from attacking you on the ground, but they don't fly. So it's actually hard for you to close out the game unless you have the direct damage. Like you can get the 50% from the Darkspire Punisher sometimes. You can get the Darkspire Tyrant trigger sometimes. But it's going to get worse and worse if Royal Falcon does take the Punishers or other Darkspires away from Jakisha there.
Not much time left in the round, so these players will have to finish up as quickly as possible here. About 2 minutes left. You know, probably the best situation for Jakisha here would be an extinction.
Yeah, it's one of those funny scenarios where you actually want your guys to die.
Oh, he's going to murder his own Punisher in response to the repel here. To put another Darkspire into the graveyard. That being said, Midnight Shepherd still hasn't blocked yet, so well, it hasn't blocked yet, so it could exhaust itself here. It's interesting that this chain of events is happening before blockers were declared. Because now the Midnight Shepherd is not able to block and use its effect to steal a Punisher to prevent the Tyrant's damage.
Yep, that's very true. Yeah, it seems like you would want to take the Punisher away from Jakisha's graveyard there first.
Yeah, you'd kind of want to put your Shepherd in front of the Priestess or some such. So it looks like all of that damage went through. Well, now that being said, the Midnight Shepherd can use its ability to get a Darkspire and then use that Darkspire to block. Yeah,
that's true,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
Unfortunately for
now,
Royal
if you block the Punisher, the Priestess, sorry.
Right.
Well, now, and every Priestess is going to do this from this point on out.
Right.
So even if this Priestess draws another Priestess, and it did the damage. Wow, that's an exciting way to end that match.
We see Jakisha quite excited about the murder on you. the classic murder your own troops so that you can win the game, which is the right play. It's just awesome to see something like that happen. Oh
That
man,
extra point of that extra 2 points of damage
absolutely made the difference.
absolutely made the difference. Also,